Okay, let's get started. Hello everybody, my name is Sari Aremo-Tuominen and I'm responsible for marketing at Koopa, and I'm warmly welcoming you to this Koopa webinar on doing more with the one system. Before handing it over to Fabio, I would like to remind you that there is a Q&A tab on your screen where you can raise questions during this webinar. All of those questions will be answered and sent to you together with this webinar recording and the presentation after the webinar.
Hello everybody, welcome to this new Koopa webinar. My name is Fabio Belloni. I'm one of the co-founder of Koopa, Chief Growth Officer, and I lead the team called Product and Solution Management. Some of you might know me, I've been in other webinars, and typically I'm called to the front line whenever there is the need to describe some of the new product offering or clarifying some of the solution aspects of our platform and technology. I've been involved with Koopa in many roles throughout my careers, and I'm very glad that nowadays leading the product development team, I'm actually exposed to discuss with many of our customers and partners on how the Koopa platform can satisfy their need and meet the requirements of our projects across different sites. So that gives me a very unique insight into what is actually valuable and needed for our partners, and also sometimes to collect what are the misunderstandings of what our technology could deliver, and oftentimes, like always, such misunderstanding are maybe related to the fact that we haven't communicated clear enough what is our offering, and that's the spirit how we are doing now this video recording. We have collected during the past few months feedback from the front line through our sales or myself directly from customers, and we would like to bring some clarity on the table, especially in light of our latest platform software release, which is the 9.0. All right, so this webinar will focus on what we call do more with one system, and it really wants to highlight the fact that our platform and solution, it's really built not to fulfill one use case or to operate into one environment, but really to be as scalable and horizontal as possible. So as said, we really collect some facts and myths, and actually some of you might remember even a webinar that we recorded together with the Bluetooth, I believe last year, or actually a bit more, maybe a year and a half ago. And in here you can see actually the link to that particular webinar. So some of the facts about Koopa, and I believe this is something that everyone recognizes around the industry. Our system is accurate and reliable, and we put here as an example what we did with our partner Wise Hockey. We have around 90 stadiums currently deployed where professional hockey games are tracked by using our technology, pinpoint accuracy, millisecond level latency, tracking puck, player, referees, anything that moves on the ice. So when accuracy and reliability is needed, we're there. The other aspect that is often recognized to us is that we actually work and operate in harsh environments. We have plenty of deployment in industrial site, heavy metallic environment reflections, and everything that is bad for radio signal can happen in those environments. And again, as we have proved in the webinar done together with Bluetooth on the myth and facts of Bluetooth, using Bluetooth as a positioning technology, with the implementation of Koopa for direction finding, we actually can mitigate and operate robustly also in such very harsh conditions. And so I definitely, if you haven't seen that webinar, I suggest you to go and have a look. That is a bit more technical. In this presentation, we will be a little bit more high level. But what are the myths? And Myth in this case, it really means maybe misunderstanding that I've been collecting over, again, months of year. So I'm just gonna display them all. So we heard things like there is no entry solution for Koopa. Koopa is only high level, high end, but if someone wants to get started, there is no an entry level offering. We heard things like Koopa can only operate indoor, no outdoor, or Koopa doesn't have a wireless solution. Actually, we do. And also that there is no easy deployment solution, meaning that there is a procedure for deployment, but typically is a bit complicated and convoluted. And some of this feedback are true, especially if you refer them to few years ago when we have old system releases, maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago. But Koopa has been around for now 12 years, about 12 years. So the product has evolved quite a lot. And actually we do have very easy way to get people started, wireless solution, as well as I would call it close to plug and play methodology and tools for setting up the system in a matter of few minutes. So let's get started with understanding the landscape. So the problem that even ourselves solved at the beginning, and many companies out there providing RTLS solution are looking at, is to take an environment, take an ambient, and try to provide the best positioning accuracy. But what we noticed for Koopa and talking to our partner is that this works at the beginning. You do a lab, you do a test, you do a pilot, but this is not the problem at scale that the end customer really wants to solve. Actually, the problem that the customer has is much broader because end customer typically don't have one building, one facility. They actually have many scattered around, and actually every facility might be carrying out a different job, a different task. Therefore, there are different use cases and requirements. So how does an end customer looks in this case? Well, we have represented in this way. So often the typical environment that the end customer has, it's the need to seamlessly tracking assets, tools, vehicles, that transport unit, or any other valuable goods that might be moving continuously across many different sites, type of sites. Some belonging directly to the end customer and being very central to their operation, like the main sorting center or central hub for distribution. In other cases, it could be just a storage where you store your tools, equipment, or transport unit equipment, as well as you might have local sorting centers that they carry out more limited, maybe volume of distribution. As well as, of course, you have end customers, so you might be delivering goods to them. So as you can see, it's actually a complex environment where the end customer essentially is seeking for one thing, seamless tracking. And they want to answer to one question: where is my good? They don't care which technology, they don't care what is doing that, but they care that all of this happens seamlessly and in a cost-effective way. So what we have done with Koopa is the capability to modulate our platform to be able to accommodate different levels of tracking granularities. Allowed me to use this term. So the highest level, it's when you go all in, high accuracy, low latency, is what you can see in this video where you have in the main sorting center assets or even people wearing a tag like a wristband or a badge that are moving across the facility and with less than a meter accuracy, pinpoint precision, and less than a second latency, be able to measure as they are continuously everywhere. Is this needed in all the environment? Well, maybe not. And that's what you can see here when we move towards the sorting center. So in the regional sorting center, maybe you only want to know the proximity of a certain group of tools. So the kind of zonal tracking. So you just want to know, is it in the front, is it in the middle, is it in the back? And of course, all of this has a direct impact on the willingness of budget for enabling that facility with a certain solution, as well as directly with the amount of infrastructure or technology as a whole that someone is willing to put in place. But the item needs to be able to seamlessly move across all of these and be tracked with the different granularities. And then what happens when the good is stored or is transited outdoor? Well, also here, there's a need for visibility. And lately, but not, or lastly, but not less importantly, it's where it reaches the end customer, where maybe the customer just want to know, has it arrived? Is it there? Is not there? And if it's not there, then of course there is a whole working process that is kicked off in order to understand, has it got lost? Is it just delayed? Or maybe it was delivered some time ago, but it was forgotten to be delivered. And there is a number of use cases that build just upon this particular example. So Koopa is really not just the lowest granularity, but we can do everything I just described under one platform. So how is that possible? How has our technology evolved over the years? And maybe some of you might ask why I haven't heard about it. Well, again, this is why we're here. This is why we're making this webinar. So the starting point for us has been 2012 when Koopa was established, and our bread and butter and DNA, which is still very strong in us, is to really provide accurate and reliable technology. So once you put in maybe the full investment and you have a full deployed platform, we call it tag it and track it. So it's up to you. You can measure, monitor anything that moves, whether it's a mobile handset, whether it's a tag with a spatial design or sensing capability. But then, as said, by talking to customers and partners, we understood that sometimes the full-fetched lowest granularity is not needed. But that's where we introduced the zonal tracking. Originally, we were calling it 3 Ps, which means positioning, proximity, and presence. Some of you might maybe remember that. And our platform can very easily be modulated and tuned to accommodate this lower level of accuracy. And of course, lower level of accuracy, reduce infrastructure at much lower cost in order to enable certain sites to be able to monitor and track the items. Then what we ended up learning from the market is that actually not always tagging a device is possible. Sometimes it's actually not possible because of a number of reasons. There could be that the item is so small you cannot put a tag on it, or it could be that the cost of the tag impairs the return of investment of the project itself. I mean, we have deployment where we track tens of thousands of devices in a single facility. So if you do the ROI calculation, actually the discriminating factor is not the cost of infrastructure, it's the cost of the tag itself. In some cases, giving the possibility to have tagless tracking really helps to reach the return of investment in a shorter time. And in the tagless tracking, what we are doing essentially is to focus on tracking the handset and the mobile scanners that otherwise will be tracking the device, so that every time you pull the trigger and you read a certain barcode or QR code, we can tell you where that has been read. And then lastly, which is part also the 9.0 release, is what we call infraless tracking. And these are cases in which there is actually no Koopa infrastructure, there is no locators, and this could happen outdoor or it could happen indoor as well. But those are cases where essentially the customer is in need of what we call a presence detection. Is it there? Is it not there? Or maybe having actually infraless and zonal, in some cases, they kind of overlap, depending on the type of ambient. But all of this is a Koopa offering. So when you hear Koopa is only accurate tracking, well, that's the first myth. It's not true. We actually have a number of declination of our offering that we will be more than happy to discuss with you and show you how this can be accommodated within your particular need and project. So how do we translate this in the example of multi-facility that I showed earlier? It's practically in this representation. So you can have a sorting center where you have the pinpoint tag and track it accuracy. Then you go maybe into the zonal that is, some kind of area-like detection. Is it in the back, in the middle, or in the front of a particular facility? or area. Clearly, in the case of the zonal, you cannot draw a line and say, is it left or right of the line, but it's more like saying, is it in this area, is it in this part of the facility? And then you go to the tagless, and then you go to the inference. But all of this is like tuning the volume of your radio, moving left or right in this chart. And that's one of the key value from our offering, that everything happens completely seamlessly. So what we wanted to represent here is just some use case where effectively shows that depending on the type of accuracy or tracking characteristics or granularity that you want to achieve in a certain environment, that inherently automatically kick off and open the door to different use cases. Starting from the left, we call it opportunistic inventory management, where you have somebody that, for instance, just by sniffing with his handset the presence of tag in a certain ambient, it would be able to report that, hey, I've seen the assets, it's there, I saw it at that time, and it was roughly in this location. It's opportunistic, so it happens. There's no cost, no infrastructure that is needed in that respect. It's practically software that will come in and will enable this functionality for you. And then as you start to move towards the right-hand side of this picture, that's where in a kind of dosed way, you start to put a little bit more infrastructure in place. And by doing that, you start to enable proximity, you start to enable accurate, you start to go to fully reliable and real time. But there is a lot of value even in the zonal. And there are other technology out there that, for instance, enable zonals, tracking. But one of the distinguishing factors from our side when we do zonal and proximity is the real timeness. We never compromise on real time. So even if we cannot tell you maybe with pinpoint accuracy where something is, we tell you in real time. So that if something walks suddenly out the door or out of an area, you're not going to get to know it a few minutes later. A few minutes, something can move very far, but you will get to know immediately that something has happened, and then you can react upon that. So again, Koopa platform, very flexible when it comes to the granularity. And this slide is what we used to call the 3 Ps of offering for Koopa: presence, proximity, and positioning. So if you want to know more about how this conjugation of system architecture can apply in the environment, please reach out, contact us. We're more than happy to explore with you your particular needs and tell you how that would be designed to fulfill your goals. What we have done moving forward along the line of do more with one system. So do more with one system doesn't just mean, again, different positioning accuracy, different cost, different seamless tracking in or outdoor across multiple sites under one umbrella offering. Do more with one system also means to seamlessly integrate other devices within this platform. And other devices in this particular example, it practically means, for instance, integrate digital displays. So what we have learned talking again with our customer partners, it's the fact that as the digitalization is ramping up on the customer facility, and customers are also discovering more and more the benefits of using paperless processes. So using paper is not just environmentally unfriendly, it's not just against the green economy and so on, but it's also actually very costly step within their operation, which require not just cost of material, but also labor cost to update those papers. So the idea would be similar to maybe what some of you have seen happening already in retail store and supermarkets, where on the shelf there is no anymore a sticker with the price of the object, but there are small e-ink display that can get automatically updated day to day. Similar thing can happen in the industrial side for when it comes to tracking goods and assets of value. And in this case, instead of just putting a tag, you can actually put a very smart tag, a tag that has a display. That's what is a display tag. So that whoever is handling that item could get immediate reading and feedback even directly by reading and looking at the display, instead of, for instance, having to walk around with a tablet connected to a backend system. So it can really provide direct benefits. And in this respect, we have been ramping up our partnership with one of our good partner, PDI Digital. They have a platform called Sepio, and we are now combining Koopa and Sepio to provide a seamless turnkey offering to our customer, where on top of doing everything I described before, when you can track phones and assets and different tags or mobile scanners, now you can also track these display tags and enjoy the functionality of customizing the display content or interact with the buttons that are available on the display. And all of that brings a complete breed of use cases into play when effectively providing a solution for your end customer. And lastly, but not less importantly, some of these devices also can operate outdoor, so that you can have seamless tracking when you go in and out. And we're also looking, but that would be maybe topic for a different webinar, into discussing of some devices that also carry GPS-like functionalities, maybe LoRa or maybe NB-IoT, anyway, long-range, low-power characteristics for backend communication, so that this really combination of Bluetooth and Koopa for indoor, plus maybe GPS and wide range, low power communication outdoor, can be seamlessly blended into an offering. And that's what we are building for you and for the end customers. So bottom line, what have we learned? What have we tackled throughout the discussion today? So we really wanted to take some of the myth and facts and misunderstanding maybe created by us not fully communicating our offering, but again, that's why we are here, and to bring them to you and to your attention, so that you can realize that Koopa doesn't have just a very unique, accurate, and reliable platform which operates in a harsh environment, but we also have tools and means to provide these different aspects of an offer delivering. And I know that you might have a lot of questions, and I know that in this limited time I haven't touched all these different aspects, but this will be topic for next webinars to come, where maybe we are going to open more into for instance, the wireless connectivity option and what we call Q-Link, which is one of our new offering already used by some customer, for instance, for outdoor deployments, where locators are mounted on the light poles and no cables needs to be run or ditched across the parking lot. We have a native wireless connectivity for that. And also we have a very easy methodology and tools that allows, again, to deploy the system in a matter of minutes. So whatever you have maybe experience with the old Koopa system, I think you might need to reconsider all of that moving forward. So, but I would like to thank you for your time, and it was a pleasure being here and discussing with you. Please send your questions to us, reach out, and based on your feedback, we will build and construct the next webinar. Thank you very much again, and have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, Fabio, and thank you all for listening in. So we hope that you found the content interesting, and we will send over the questions together with the answers and the presentation, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.